the Atharvaveda, hymn 10:7 is 44 verses. Which of his members is the seat of fervor? Which is the base of ceremonial order? Where in him standeth faith? Where holy duty? Where in what part of him is truth implanted? Out of which member glows the light of Agni? Form which precedes the breath of Matraspan, from which doth Chandra measure out his journey, traveling over Skamba's mighty body. Which of his members is on the earth's upholder? Which gives the middle air a base to rest on? Where in which member is the sky established, or half the space above the sky its dwelling? Whitherward yearning blazeth Agni upward, whitherward yearning bloweth Matarestvan. Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, to whom with longing go the turning pathways? Whitherward go the half-months, and accordant with the full year the months in their procession? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, to whom go seasons and the groups of seasons? Whitherward yearning speed the two young damsels accordant, day and night a different color? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, to whom the waters take their way with longing? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, on whom Prajapata set up and firmly established all the worlds, that universe which Prajapata created, wearing all forms, the highest, midmost, lowest? How far did Skamba penetrate within it? What portion did he leave unpenetrated? How far within the past hath Skamba entered? How much of him hath reached into the future? That one part which he set in 1,000 places, how far did Skamba penetrate within it? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, in whom men recognize the waters? Brahma, in whom they know the worlds and their enclosures, in whom are non-existence and existence. Declare that Skamba. Who is he of many, in whom exerting every power, fervor maintains her loftiest vow, in whom are comprehended law, waters, devotion, and belief? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, on whom as their foundation earth and firmament and sky are set, in whom as their appointed place rest fire and moon and sun and wind? Who out of many, tell me, that Skamba, he in whose body are contained all 330 deities? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, in whom the sages earliest born, the Richas, Saman, Yajus, earth, and the one highest sage abide? Who out of many, tell me, is the Skamba, who comprehendeth for mankind both immortality and death? Who containeth for mankind the gathered waters as his veins? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, he whose chief arteries stand there the skies 4 regions? He whom sacrifice putteth forth its might. They who in Purusha understand Brahma know him who is supreme. He who knows him who is supreme, and he who knows the Lord of life, they know the loftiest power divine, and thence know Skamba thoroughly. Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, of whom Vaisvanara became the head, and Angarasis his eye, and Yatus his corporeal parts? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, whose mouth, they say, is holy lore, his tongue the honey-sweetened whip, his udder is Viraj, they say? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, from whom they hewed the richest off, from whom they chipped the Yajus, he, whose hairs are summoned verses, and his mouth, the Atharvaveda, men count as 'twere a thing supreme, non-entity's conspicuous branch, and lower man who serve thy branch, regarded as an entity? Who out of many, tell me, is that Skamba, in whom Adityas dwell, in whom Rudras and Vasus are contained, in whom the future and the past, and all the worlds are firmly set, whose secret treasure evermore the 33 gods protect. Who knoweth now the treasure which, O deities, ye watch and guard, where the gods, versed in sacred lore, worship the loftiest power divine? The priest who knows them face to face may be a sage who knows the truth. Great verily are those gods who sprang from non-existence into life. Further, men say that one part of Skamba is non-entity, where Skamba generating gave the ancient world its shape and form. They recognize that single part of Skamba as the ancient world. The 33 gods within his body were disposed as limbs, some deeply versed in holy lore, some know those 33 gods. Men know Hiranyagarbha as supreme and inexpressible in the beginning. In the midst of the world, Skamba poured that gold on Skamba for rests. The worlds in holy law repose on him, Skamba. I clearly know that all of thee on Indra is imposed. On Indra fervor rest, on him the worlds in holy law recline. Indra, I clearly know that all of thee on Skamba findeth rest. Ere sun and dawn, man calls and calls one deity by the other's name. When the unborn first sprang into existence, he reached that independent sovereign lordship, than which aught higher never hath arisen. Be reverence paid to him, the highest Brahma, whose base is earth, his belly air, who made the sky to be his head. Homage to highest Brahma, him whose eye is Surya, and the moon, who groweth young and new again, him who made Agna for his mouth. Homage to the highest Brahma, him whose 2 life breathings were the wind, the Angrasis, his sight, who made the regions be his means of sense. Skamba set fast these 2, the earth Skamba established, the 6 spacious regions. This whole world Skamba entered and pervaded. Homage to the highest Brahma, him who sprang from fervor and from toil, filled all the worlds completely, who made Soma for himself alone. Why doth the wind move ceaselessly? Why doth the spirit take no rest? Why do the waters, seeking truth, never at any time repose? Absorbed in fervor is the mighty being in the world's center. On the water's surface, to him the deities, one and all, betake them. So stand the tree trunk with the branches round it, who out of many tell me is that Skamba, to whom the deities with hands and feet and voice and ear and eye present unmeasured tribute in the measured hall of sacrifice. Darkness is chased away from him. He is exempt from all the stress. In him are all the lights, the 3 abiding. In Prajapati he verily knows the reed of gold that stands amid the flood is the mysterious lord of life. Singly the 2 young maids of different colors approach the 6-pegged warp in turns and weave it. The one draws out the threads, the other lays them, they break them not, they reach no end of labor. Of these 2 dancing round as 'twere, I cannot distinguish whether the ranks before the other. A male enweaves this web, a male divides it, a male hath stretched it to the cope of heaven. These pegs have buttressed up the sky, the summons have turned them into shuttles for weaving. And we have this idea of this, divine body, as it were. All the light beings, all whatever, this is how we know divinity. And we have 33. The Rig Veda mentions 33. And, well, we have some new names as we go on in the Atharvaveda, right? But the thing is that, first of all, the body or Purusha or whatever you want to call it, that's not the thing. The particular names are not the thing. And Soma for alone, well, some things it are good to include in your religious life. Some things have no place outside of religious life. holy lore, right? Yeah. Now, some entities are, manifesting divine qualities. But again, do you worship the incarnation or the spiritual manifestation or whatever you want to call it? Or do you worship the being, the ultimate being that caused that?